here we go. So welcome to 2023. And today for January, we are covering Pipedrive. So the agenda for today is really to go back to those 5 tools of business systems. So I'll go through that in the next slide. Primarily what we're going to go through today is the Pipedrive CRM. So Pipedrive is around, the sales managers and salespeople designed this sales CRM. That's what the whole thing has been designed around. So Pipedrive likes to think that Pipedrive was designed to track activities and track your sales. So you want to know who's doing what by when, and what deals are you currently working on, and what stage are they in? Did you just meet them? Did you just do a quote? Have you done the quote? Have you done the job? Have you been paid? So that flow that we want to see is tracking those jobs with activities and checking those deals and sales, and who's doing what, which salesperson's doing what, and the collaboration between the entire team. So that's what the CRM is primarily for. The purpose of doing these sort of webinars is that we can just do an overview and show you how simple Pipedrive is. Like, I've been using Pipedrive now for almost 11 years. So pretty much when Pipedrive started is when I started using it. And over the years, we've become an affiliate, then a partner, and now an elite partner with Pipedrive. So we are now helping up to 70 businesses a month get set up with Pipedrive. So this is the goal, is to keep it simple, but also show you some of the advanced things that it can do. I have been blamed for pushing water through a fire hose to try to just get the information out. So I would love it if you can throw questions in during the presentation as well, just so there is a flow of information, but also it's not just of just info that is just too much and overwhelming. So we're going to go through how the email, contacts, and calendar sync back into Pipedrive. So how do we create something that every email that you have to a customer, everyone can see in your business? So if you go to a customer inside your CRM, you can see the entire conversation of everyone with that particular client in one timeline. So we're going to go through how that syncs, because it will sync with your Office 365 and Google Workspace. So it works perfect with both. We're going to go through the deals and pipelines. So how do those deals look like? And in what stages and how many pipelines can you have? So you can have a sales pipeline. You can have a pipeline for every product or service you provide, and each one might have a different stage inside that. And so we'll work our way through the pipelines just so you can see how that flow is and how you can create and customize those pipelines as well. We'll start talking about Azim. It is great to see you. I love it. So, and then we're going to go through the workflow automation. So every time a deal moves from one stage to another stage, you want something to happen. So you can create an activity, you can create an email, all of those things that you want to see automated through every stage. So if you send a quote and the quote is being viewed, why not have an email go to that client automatically that says, hey, let me know if you have any questions on that quote. And you don't need to do it straight away. You can time it, you can delay it. So there's a lot of ways you can create these workflow automations. And as we go through those workflow automations, I'm going to show you how inside that deal, we can start using Smart Docs. Now, Smart Docs, if you're familiar with DocuSign and PandaDoc, that kind of thing, the Smart Docs are designed to replace PandaDoc and DocuSign within Pipedrive. So it's built into Pipedrive on the professional plan. So it just means you can go to a deal, you can go to your templates of your proposals, you can open it up, it grabs information directly from the deal and brings it across into that proposal. And all you need to do is just check it over and hit send. And you can send it off for a signature, you can send it off as a PDF, or you can send it off just as a link. So we'll go through that as well. We'll then talk about the leads inbox and how leads inbox is separate to Pipedrive. So we want to have a space where we have all of our leads come in, and then we can nurture those leads, turn them into prospects, turn those prospects into clients. And the lead booster part of the leads inbox is around now utilizing your websites, website forms. You can then have your different types of web chats, your live chats, and different things you can add to your website that will help you track those leads so you're not doing any double entry. Bruce Paulson, it is great to see you, my friend. So then we'll step into the campaigns. So campaigns is more around the email campaigns that is set up inside Pipedrive. So if you want to use something that ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, and others can do, this is, again, built into Pipedrive. So it's got the list, your email templates, and you just set and trigger when you want those emails to go out. We're then going to go through insights and reports. So basically all the information you're putting in Pipedrive, you want to be able to pull out. So if you've got data with numbers and dates and goals and dollar values, you want to be able to pull that data back out again to see how you're tracking. So we'll go through a couple of example reports and goals that I've set up. Lastly, we'll go through an add-on that we have called AirCall. So this is a product, it's a third-party product that links with Pipedrive. So it's a telephone, an IP phone built into the computer and linked to Pipedrive. So if I find a number in my Pipedrive, I just click the number, AirCall dials that number, the call is recorded, and that WAV file is then stored in the timeline of that client. Both inbound and outbound gets recorded, so that you can then, again, the transparency with your team, you can then go through and everyone can actually monitor the calls that are on through every single call that you're making, both inbound and outbound within Pipedrive. So the next step we'll go through, we'll talk about the 5 business tools. Now, I always start every webinar with this basic framework because there are so many tools out there that we can use that it just gets overwhelming and gets confusing. So with the basic and the core tools that most businesses need is Office Suite. So typically Google Workspace and Office 365. Those are 2 big gamers they're playing. In finance, you're either going to have Xero, QuickBooks, or MYB. There's not much more out there. There's a couple of big ones out there, but these are the 3 primary ones you need. So again, we're going back to that cloud-based solution. We're no longer installing programs on our computer. We're not pulling them out of a box. We're just signing into our browser and having access to these. Your project management, so you're talking about ClickUp, Monday, Asana. Depending on what platform you're using, they're all pretty much the same. And once you start building that up and getting really good at it, that's the power of actually the projects of tracking how you're doing. So that's the differences between these are unique, but you want them to be tied together. So with Google Workspace, you want to have a connection with all of these, with Office and ClickUp and however that looks. So the next one is systems management, and this is the one that's typically missed. So everyone has, they've got the CRM, or they might have the Office, they might have the finance, but where are they putting the information and the documents and the processes and the systems that they have for all of these tools? So a lot of people think that the project management will manage all of those, but that's just the how-to. This is the step-by-step in what to do, but where do you put the recording of how your entire business operates is a product called System Hub, and this is a systemology product. So as a systemologist, we help businesses systemize their entire business by using all of these tools, recording how you're using them, documenting them, and then putting them into System Hub, so you've got a single source of all of everything and how you're doing it. So, and the CRM component, this is what we're covering today. So there's Pipedrive, HubSpot, Salesforce. There's hundreds of CRMs that are out there. We love Pipedrive the most because it's the easiest to use and has the most power, and it doesn't necessarily mean you need a university degree to jump in and try to use it. Okay, so the plan for today is to go through and just open up my Pipedrive. It's a working Pipedrive that we use every single day, and I just want to show you how we use this on a day-to-day basis. So when you first sign into Pipedrive, this is what it looks like. Okay, so you've got your dashboard here, and this is basically your pipeline, your sales pipeline. So in this example, you can see I have a deal in, intro, 3-day, 6-day. Now, every one of these stages, now this particular pipeline, if I go up to the right-hand side here, you'll see that I have all of these different pipelines here. So this particular pipeline is purely just for Pipedrive leads that come in. Okay, so we have these stages. Every single time one of these drags into here, something happens. So in here, I have an intro email that goes to the client. In here, I have a 3-day follow-up, 6-day, 9-day, 12-day. And typically on a 14-day trial here, they're getting a final email saying, can we help you out? And there's always a link directly to my calendar. So it links directly, just click a button, they can book in a call. When they book in that call, it goes directly into Pipedrive and in my calendar because it's all synced. So this is basically the sales pipeline. And you can see here, each one of these buttons represents the scheduling. So as you can see, I have a follow-up. And when they're gray, that means future. And when they're green, that means today. And if it's red, it means it's overdue. So if we have a look at another pipeline, so this is typically Pipedrive. If I go to just a normal sales pipeline, you can see a prospect, follow-up, needs specified, quote sent, quote being viewed, quote approved, invoice client, invoice paid. That's just your normal, typical sales pipeline. So whichever stages these are in, you can just drag and drop them in like that. You can see here, there's no schedule set for that, so it's got that yellow exclamation. Okay, so depending on which pipeline you're in, you have different stages and different names, and you simply can go into, click the little pencil button, and you can rename these stages in any way you want to. So the idea is you can have 3 stages if that's all it is for your business, or you can have 20 stages if that's what it is for your business. It's up to you how you want to manage this. It is totally customizable. Okay, so you can jump in, rename that as much as you want to. The probability is what's the probability of that deal getting past that stage. So you can, and here I've got 100%, but you can change that. The running in days means how many days do you want this deal to sit in that stage? So if you say, well, I wouldn't want anyone to sit in this stage longer than 7 days, you simply turn that on and put 7. Now, as soon as that's turned on and it goes past 7 days, whatever deal is in that stage at that time will be highlighted red. So that way you can see from a glance that you need to be following up on these deals because it's been sitting in there for too long. So not only do you have your scheduling that you can set up here, but you can also have it go red, and you can see here the green ones are the ones that are actually won, and you can view different views here as well just by setting up some filtering. So there's a thousand things you can do with this, but the main point of this exercise is to say, I just want to see what deals we're working on. I want to see what stage those deals are in. I want to know when are we following up and when are we actually chasing up these so that we can communicate and be top of mind, but still nurture that client through that entire process. Okay, so if a client goes through and says, we don't want to have anything at the point, we want to come back in a year and review it, whatever, you never mark a deal off as completely lost. You simply move them to a new stage called follow-up. So here we have a 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, 12 month, 2-year follow-up. So you never lose a prospect. You simply put them in a follow-up sequence, because if you're selling a service or product and that person or that prospect isn't ready for you yet, but in 12 months time they're ready, wouldn't it be great if they received an email follow-up from you that's automatic? So if I drag this into here, is this a simple email for me saying, can you believe it's been a month since I've seen you? I drag it from 3 months to 6 months. As soon as this is sitting in here for 3 months, an email goes out. Can you believe it's been 3 months? How are you tracking? And so on. So every time you drag this in, it calculates based on your appointment and your scheduling and the automations that you set up. So just do a nurturing follow-up. Okay, so that's the sequence we want to have there. So that's your sales pipelines. And if we go back into over in the settings here on the top right, you'll see there's a thing that has company settings. So what we want to look here is the setup primarily in the email is where you connect your Office 365 or your Google Workspace account. This is where you do that. And then you contact sync. And again, you can have a one-way sync or a two-way sync. It's up to you how you want to have your contacts come into Pipedrive and vice versa. Just note that with your contacts, if you've got 10 people signing into Pipedrive, the only contacts that sync back to your devices and back to your account are the contacts that you own. So your initial connection, your initial sync is what syncs back to your devices. But in Pipedrive, you could have 20,000 contacts because you have a mix of everyone's contacts in one melting pot, in one source inside your CRM, but you're not getting everyone else's contacts thrown back onto your devices. Okay, so it keeps it based on the owner of the contacts. With your calendar, you can have a one-way sync or a two-way sync. So one-way sync means that anything you're putting in your Pipedrive calendar can come across to your Outlook or Google Calendar. A two-way sync means either direction. So if you delete a calendar event in Google, it's going to delete it from Pipedrive and vice versa. And so you can set up your calendar so that it is completely transparent with all your devices. So no matter what happens inside Pipedrive or your Outlook or Google Calendar and your devices, it's all the same. This connects also to Google Drive, meaning that if you are in a contact in someone's contact list or details, you can connect a Google Drive account that's related to the folder for that client as well. So you're not having to download and upload. You can connect it directly to your Google Drive account. Okay, so we'll keep on going through going back over to the workflow automations and the smart docs. So if I was to jump back into, let's say, this pipeline here. So we know that when we drag something in here, we can trigger something to happen. We can trigger an email, an activity. You can create a whole flow of automations by, again, going back up to settings, down to workflow automations. And then you can see here there are 42 templates to choose from. So you can see here I don't know if you use Asana, every time a new lead is added, create a task in Asana. If you have every time a deal is added, send an email. So you simply use these templates to say, well, you just fill in the gaps. So which pipeline, which email template do you want to send and when? And you just save that. So I'm actually going to switch back to comments. Okay, questions from Bruce. Did you want to unmute, Bruce?
Yeah, it was something. Oh, that's it. When you had the automation to do with bringing in something like assigner or arrow flow and stuff like that, is that just still a matter of just having a hook that brings that in, like Zapier or something like that?
Yep. So with Asana, for your first part of the question, that's built in.
No,
Now,
assigner, which is like
Asana, yes.
Yeah.
So going back to the integration part, so that would be something, an API connection, something like Zapier or something like that, which bridges those two together. So if it's cloud-based over here, Pipedrive can talk to it.
Yep. Okay. And the second question was, if someone is looking how you've got, your different pipeline, your pipeline tab at the top, and it doesn't have a little edit button, is that just in the settings from the administrator to change that over?
So if they're in a deal?
No, at the top where you've got pipeline deal on the top right.
Yes.
See how it's got a little pencil? Yep. If it doesn't have a pencil on someone's on their login, does that mean that that's just a settings thing from the administrator to actually get that in?
Correct. So you'll see here, you can see the permission sets. And so all I did here, see at the top right where it's got that little plus where it says invite your team?
Yep.
That's the quickest way to get to that setting. So when you go there, go to manage users. So manage users is under company, and then company settings, then manage users.
Okay.
You can then go into that particular person by selecting the three dots over on the far right.
Yep.
And you can edit access rights. So look over here, you can now change those permissions. They probably don't have admin rights or been able to change anything.
Yeah. I just got to give them admin rights. That's cool. That's all it was. Pretty
Beautiful. Easy. Thank you, Bruce. Okay, so we'll go through an example deal, and we'll grab something like that where you can see this is inside the deal now. So inside here, I can still see the person's name. I can still see their company. So it's still inside. It's all living inside of here. Even if I scroll down, you'll see the company, the person. You can see anything around how this has been created. Now, over here in the top, I can send an email directly to this person now. But because I'm sending this email inside of the deal, this email will stay attached to that deal. So when you go away from Pipedrive and come back and you go into a deal, you can see every activity, every email, every correspondence pertaining to that particular deal. But if I go back into the company, full company line, that little timeline right here, I'm now seeing every single email that every single person's ever had with this company. And not only from every person from that company, but every person that uses Pipedrive in our company, all of the correspondence and activities will be transparent here. But if you dig directly just into this person, I'm now only seeing emails and correspondence and activities relating to that person. And then when you go back into the deal, so I'll scroll down to here, and the deals are always sitting just there. I'll click that. I can still see everything pertaining to this deal, but anything I do within here is going to stay here. So it's super easy. Now, talking about the Smart Docs, this is where you go to Documents, and you can go to your templates, and you can open up, let's just grab Pipedrive Consulting for an example as a template. So this is a proposal that I simply did in Word, had it as a letterhead, and I just basically copied and pasted into a template inside Pipedrive. So it's exactly like PandaDoc and DocuSign. These fields here, I simply grabbed from over here. So these are the fields that you can grab all of this information directly off the deal. You can grab all of this information from the person, like the first name, the last name, any information, the addresses, anything around the organization and so on. You simply copy and paste it into here. So you'll see here, I have today's date, the deal title, the person's full name, and the person's first name. Now you can have custom fields inside of a deal that might be more specific to your business, like job numbers. You might have job location. You might have serial numbers, model numbers, whatever that deal is associated to will be transparent and sit in here with the opportunity to make that part of your deal. So if you do have a variety of packages that you're selling, and you can put that custom field in the deal, and then that custom field can come across straight to the proposal without you having to retype it. So we've got the proposal done. We like the way that formats is. We go down to the bottom right, use to create document. So here, it's generating the document and it's pulling information directly from the deal. So what we want to do then is just go through and check it and say, yep, I like the way that looks. It's grabbed today's date. It's got the title. It has attention Tracy. Sweetman and her first name there. So that looks good. I'm happy with that. You can still modify it because you're still in edit mode. But over here on the bottom right, you now have the option to share as a link. So it'll generate a link and you simply go, "Dear Tracy, please find the link here to the proposal as discussed." Send, right? If you want to request a signature, when you click this button here, it opens up the sidebar that allows you to drag and drop signature box in, a text box in, or today's date. You would drag the date field in as well. So all of that's ready to go. You just hit send and they'll receive that. They click the button, they sign it, you sign it if you need to. You get a copy, they get a copy, comes back to Pipedrive as a deal that's been won, and you then do the job. And you just put it into the one category in a deal and you've completed it. There's no double handling. You don't have to be going back and forth and sending something that they need to print out, sign, scan, and email back to you, and then you got to update all of this. It all happens straight into here. If you need to, you can just download the PDF if that's how they like to receive a proposal. So they do print it out and sign it and send it back to you. But these three options are here. So I'm just going to close that. And you can see when this deal gets open, what happens is a little eyeball will appear here to tell you every time they opened it. So if they open up your proposal, you'll get a notification straight up here. See the little sales assistant on the top right? And this will tell you every time someone opens up an email or a proposal will be here. So as long as you're sending an email from Pipedrive or sending the proposal directly from your Smart Docs, anytime someone opens your email or clicks a link, if you have an attachment or a link inside your proposal and they click it, you'll get a notification to say that they've clicked through. That's what I was talking about before with that workflow automation. You get notification when they open it. That's when you can drag it in to say, quote, being viewed. You set a 3-hour delay to and then send an email to say, let me know if you have any questions on that quote. Because they're going to say, how did you know that I just opened that quote? So you want to put a bit of a delay in there. So when we go back into our main pipeline, we're going to look basically at the little top level here. And I'm just being mindful of time as well, because there's a lot of information that I want to get through. But it's just, again, I just want to answer questions if you've got them as well. I'll take the time to answer the questions. And if we need to have more information of what I can't cover this month and put it into next month, that's okay too. But this is about giving you the right information and answering the right questions. So when you look at this toolbar on the left, you can see we have the P, that's our front page. Here we have our leads inbox. This is where the leads reside, and that lead booster sits as well. When you click the little button, the $sign, that's exactly the same as the P. So this is your deals here. Here we have projects, which we won't go through today. There we have campaigns. I'll go through a little bit of that today. You have your email inbox. So this is where your emails are syncing and coming back into Pipedrive. We have your activities. So in your activities, you can see a complete replica of your Outlook calendar or your Google Calendar in calendar view or in list view. So we'll touch base with that as well. Your contacts will show your organizations and your people. Okay, so this is where we'll talk about custom fields as well. Your insights is where your reports are. So this is where we can set up goals. We can set up all your dashboards. We can share those dashboards externally. So you can have an actual display live dashboard on any computer screen or TV around the world based on what's happening inside your report. So we'll go through that as well. And your marketplace is the place where all the connections for other apps would go. So Bruce, your question before around integrations with other programs, check the marketplace first to see if there's something in there that's already been pre-built for you. And all you've got to do is sign into both, link it, and you're up and running. So we'll go back up to the leads inbox. So this has two components. So the leads inbox part of it is where you bring in your leads. So you can do this manually by saying new lead, you put the person's name and email address in there. The way that I have it set up here, and primarily we're working with LinkedIn, is we have a product called Surfy, which used to be called LeadJet. So they'd renamed it a couple of months ago. So but Surfy is the name now. And I'm just going to bring this across over to here. I'll just show you how LeadJet works. So if I just go into LinkedIn, make sure you can see that okay. And let's say we just go into any sort of person here. Let's just go. Let's close that. So Surfy is now connected to Pipedrive. And so the way it works that I can now see where it says add to CRM. It's now talking to Pipedrive. So if I want to add Marion's Kitchen to my CRM, I simply click that. And if I want to add this particular person in either as a new contact, a new deal. I can do anything that I want here. I simply just click it, and then I can update the CRM straight here. So once that's connected, and I'll just go find another person rather than a page, you can see the little connection will come up here. I can now add this person as straight as a lead. And the way that I've configured this is, yes, find their address, their email address, their phone number if they have it listed. Give me not only their LinkedIn bio, but the company data information as well. So you want to try to capture as much information here as you can, so that when you come back into Pipedrive, and let's just refresh that page, you're not having to retype any email addresses, phone numbers, anything. Everything should just come straight in, straight back into here. I'm just going to just bring this back up to today. Just let that refresh. Wherever that goes. Okay. So you can bring things across here straight from LinkedIn. You can create a contact, you can create a deal, and you can create just a lead. So this, you want to make sure that you have labeled them of where they're coming from. So if they're coming from your website, they're coming from LinkedIn, they're coming from a database that you've imported, the source and the label can all be tracked here. And you can continue to nurture all of this. Let's see if we can find that one. There's a few in here that are brand new. But once you go into here, you basically, the goal is to nurture, so you can email, set up an activity, do whatever you want inside the lead until you can then convert that to a deal. So you can see here it's captured their profile and it's captured the company information. So it's just, again, these are the custom fields that you can keep adding into Pipedrive, so you can capture as much information as you can and let it copy it for you and bring it straight across. Okay, so once we close that, you can convert that to a deal. The reason our deals, I'm just going to jump over here really quick. The reason our deals don't start with a lead is because the leads inbox does that job for you. They are leads until they're qualified. Once they're a qualified lead, they become a prospect. That's why this first stage is not lead, because we're nurturing them over here. Because if they're not qualified, you can archive the lead and then you can move on. It's not going to clutter up your Pipedrive with 1,000 leads when that's the job of the leads inbox. Now, when we talk about the lead booster, now this is an add-on. I think it's $39 US per month, but you get the live chat, chatbot, and web form and prospector. So if I go to the live chat, and what that live chat and chatbot are connected, what that looks like, if I go over to our website, you'll see down here this little chatbot. I'm sure you've all seen when you go to someone's website, it's like, welcome to our website, what brings you here? And then it has these preset questions, and depending on which ones you're interested in, you can click that, and it will go through a sequence of saying, can I get your name? Can I get your address? Would you like to book in a 15-minute consultation? Again, it's part of the scheduler inside Pipedrive, just like Calendly and YouBookMe and those other little third-party calendar apps that let you schedule based on your availability. That's built into Pipedrive. So once they've selected which one they want, it comes directly back into your lead booster, and your leads inbox. So they end up sitting right here. The source that they came from is either the web form, chatbot, live chat, and then you have these other sources that you can get these from. So if they hit let's talk, that's the live chat. So I'll get a notification straight away saying someone's on your website, they want to chat with you. Again, ask their name, ask their email address, and then you can start a conversation. So that conversation will then flow directly into here. So you can chat directly from, this is a big inbox sitting right here. And you can see we've had a couple of test runs on here, and you can create a lead directly based off that conversation, and it will save the entire conversation. The web form is your simple contact form. So when we go to contact, so instead of having a contact form on your website, and then someone fills in this form, you get an email, then you've got to copy the contents of the email into your CRM. This is powered by Pipedrive. So this form, once they put the name, email, and phone number, and a little note, they hit submit. I've designed it to go straight to the leads inbox. It's right here. So if we go to web forms and we look at this contact us, you can see there's been 1,244 views, 26 interacted, 22 submitted. It's fairly low. Not a lot of people contact us through our website, but that's just because we have other avenues that we communicate with our clients a lot. But if you have an online store, you have a really active website, then you really want to be able to have those contacts go straight into your leads, straight as a prospect or straight as a deal, depending on what product or service you're selling. So I customized this by just filling in the gaps. It created this form. I simply grabbed the code and sent that to a web designer. They put it straight on our website. It was done, 5 minutes. The submit options is where you say, what do you want to happen when they hit submit? I simply said, put it in as a lead. The source is a website form. I'll own that particular lead and send an email notification to 2 of us. So we know exactly when they're coming in. So the prospector part is when you want to do a search in Australia, in Sydney, in a particular area, in a particular industry with a company size and whatever that looks like. You can just dig deep into finding as much as you want here. And then when you do the search, it'll break it down to that specific target market or target client you're looking for. So then you can just tick them and go send to leads inbox. So that's where your prospect is. If you're looking for a specific industry, company size, area, location, that kind of thing, that's really powerful there. So that's the three or four main things in Lead Booster. I'm not going to jump into too much outside of the add-ons here. The integration with messaging is kind of cool. It's got the Facebook. If you have a Facebook page for your company, you can set it up so that any messages that come through your Facebook page can come through to here as well. And you can also convert them directly into the lead as well. So if somebody's communicating through Facebook, your business page, you can have that whole conversation stored. You can create a contact and you can create a lead, as you can see over here. So that's one of the things, the integrations there. It does have a Trello WhatsApp add-on as well, but it is another purchase. So the one that we have set up right now is the Facebook Messenger. So we'll move along a little bit about the campaigns. So the difference between the campaigns and being able to send bulk email, I think it's an important thing to talk about, because the campaigns are great if you set up, for example, 10 emails and there's a sequence and you say, you have a template, you've got your email ready, you say, send this one on Friday, the next one next Friday, the next one the following Friday, and so on. That's an automated tool, and you can create automations inside of that to say that if they open it, trigger it this way. If they don't open it in 3 days, trigger this email. So it's similar, again, back to MailChimp and ActiveCampaign and that kind of thing. The important thing to remember is that your campaigns are designed, if you're nurturing and doing monthly newsletters or having some sort of sequence of emails, if you're coming back into, let's just grab any one of these, and let's just grab actual contacts. If you're doing email, bulk email, you want to create an email, save it as a template. You then want to break down your list. So here you can see I've got 1,340 people. But if I break it down and say, show me the filter of, say, just antivirus clients, for example. So we've gone down to 34 people. So these are just clients that have been labeled that they're using Avast antivirus. So let's say there's a new update or some fancy thing about Avast antivirus that I want to send an email out to, but I don't want to send it to everyone because not everyone has Avast. So I just want to communicate with clients that have a specific product or service and just talk to them. So I can simply select all. I could then hit the send group email like that. I select my template. So once you create the template, or once you create the email, you just save it as a template. And so it could be specific to a particular product or service, but you want to create that template, and then you save the template here, and then you can simply create the email. Hi, the first name field, your email, your signature, and it's got everyone in there that's specific to that product or service, and you hit send. So it just sends one email to the 34 people at once. The way Pipedrive works is still being powered by either Office 365 or Google Workspace, but it sends it out every couple of emails, every couple of seconds, rather than just out like a spam. So it's the way to protect you from, going, one, you're not sending an email out as a newsletter where people can just unsubscribe, because you want to be able to send a unique email that's coming from you. You just happen to be sending it to more than one person. So the difference between just spamming. So the way campaigns works and the way it protects you from that is you put in inside of your campaigns, under settings, you simply authenticate your domain so that you're not blacklisted. So if you do have a database of 20,000 and you want to send your campaigns each month out, Pipedrive will send it out for you. But again, it scatters the emails out, but your domain is protected by the back end, so you're not being blacklisted, which is what can happen if you're just on typical Gmail or Outlook and you're trying to send a bunch of emails every month. You're eventually going to get marked for spam by some. Okay, so that's the campaigns component. Now I want to just go through and talk about the with the contacts, particularly the organizations. So if you're primarily B2B and you're working with organizations and you want to be able to filter this list of your organizations. So yes, if I was to say owners and show me everyone, you'll see that I have 847 organizations here. And the basic idea is you want to then say, I want to see all of our clients that have meet a specific criteria, company size, product or service type, something like that. So you create custom fields. So the custom fields are sitting right there. You simply click that. These are all my custom fields that I've actually set up. And you just simply go add a field, give it a name, might be company size, make it a text or multiple options. So you have a drop down. So it might be 1 to 3, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, that kind of thing. And when you save that, you then have yourself a custom field that's ready to go. So you can see here, I've got a Systemology client type. I can simply identify every single one of the client that we work with and what type of Systemology client are they, right down to too big, too small, not interested, whatever that looks like, or Dream 100. Pipedrive client type, again, it's a drop down. So the idea here is you can say, Pipedrive, show me every organization that has a Systemology client type of Dream 100 and is in the industry of sports and is a company size of 4 to 10. So you've gone down from having 1,000 organizations down to 4, because that's who you want to target market. So the custom fields are absolutely a game changer when you are building your database, because you want to have a label. What type of client are they? High level. Client, server, support person, whatever that looks like, if they're a supplier. You want to have your labels at high level, but custom fields, you can go crazy and have as many custom fields as you want. You can see here, I've got a whole variety of custom fields. So I'm able to then break it down. If I was to go back to this main organization list and I go back to my filters, you can see I have a filter for every single product and service that we have. And you can also do the same thing with people. So if you aren't so much B2B and you're more consumer, you would then do the same thing with your people to say, show me all of these custom fields. So here we have different custom fields that we have here, subscriptions, things like that. You can see that the little smart contact information here, this is built into Pipedrive to help you identify a person if you don't have enough information about them. So if you click this little refresh button here, it'll scour the internet and find as much information about that person as possible. And it will also do it with your organizations. If we go down here in the smart contact info and hit refresh, it typically finds, LinkedIn information, location, and email address and things like that. So this is helpful if you just don't have enough information around a particular contact. So the organizations and people and those custom fields are a game changer once you start using those, because it really helps you target market who you're communicating to and who you're nurturing. So when we come down into insights, this is where all the amazing work you're doing putting your data in is where you can now start pulling this data out. So with your dashboards, this will come up automatically and you can start tweaking all of these dashboards. So in the example I'm going to use here, we've set up a goal. So by clicking that little green button, see how I've got report, dashboard, and goal. And so with any of these, you can customize your reports, what you want it to look like. What I have this example of a monthly goal. So this is part of the Systemology work where you know that inside here, so if I go back, you can see the Systemology book giveaway. You can see that my goal is to do, I want to send out 8 of these a month. So how are we tracking and how does it know these numbers? And it's simply going back to the pipeline, which is over here. So if I go back into this pipeline here, and we go back into the Systemology one, you can see the stages are here: book giveaway, coffee call, deep dive, quote sent. When we go back into our insights, you can see we've got book giveaway. I want to do 8. So I've simply set the goal by inside of that little edit button. You can basically go, right, I want to use the pipeline Systemology under the book giveaway stage from the 1st of July 2022 to the 30th of June 2023 is the time frame in which I want to do it. I want it to be a monthly time period, and I want to be my goal. I want it to be 8. And if you have a dollar value, if you say I want to make this many sales in dollar value, you simply put that as a value and you put the dollar amount in. So once you've set your goal, you now have, go back into my little insight there. So we now have our goals of 8. You can see coffee call 6. So what happens is every one of these numbers, these green lines that are here at that stage, is based on your goals, what you've set. The way that it tracks it is every single time something drags new into that stage, it marks off as a 1. And it already knows today's date, so it already knows how many you've done in December, how many you've done in January. So each month is tracked based on your activity of which stage these are going into. So now imagine if you had this goal sitting on your computer, which is great. Imagine you want to share this with the team, and you have a boardroom with one of those big screens in your boardroom that everyone walks past every single day. You simply can share that as a public link. So you can see that creates the new link there. You can copy that. I can then go into a new tab and paste it into here. And now we have a live dashboard. So everything that you're doing and every change you make and every time a deal is dragged into a new stage, it's updating this live. This refreshes every 5 or 6 seconds. So basically, if you've got a team that wants to be able to see how the tracking, whether it's dollar value, the amount of deals they won each week or each day or each year, you can set up and customize this dashboard and have as many dashboards as you want. And you can have as many of these live updates as you want. And then you just bookmark them, and they just become the page you go to when you want to see how things are going. Okay, with all the activity that's going on and everyone jumping into your Pipedrive, you want to be able to jump in here and say, just how are we doing for the year? How's it all looking? What's the big picture look like? If you're tracking things by the quarter, you simply change your insight report, the dates here to show me just the quarter or just this year. So you can modify this as much as you want to. And the reports, you can have as many reports here, which will this at the end of the day update this dashboard. And again, you can then share that across. Okay. So the last thing I want to show you is the add-on called AirCall. So again, if we can just go back into contacts, and in fact, we might even go to Aaron. Okay, so you can see the little green button that comes up with a little phone. It's because I have AirCall installed as an app. I have AirCall installed as a Chrome extension. So every phone number or every number that looks like a phone number, AirCall triggers it and says, well, if you want to call that number, just simply click that button here and it will bring up AirCall. So it brings up the number. I know that's Aaron because it's linked in with Pipedrive. So I can click that. You have 2 numbers there. So I'm going to select your mobile and I can simply call that. And Aaron, if your mobile phone is handy, it is. Look at that. So go ahead and answer that.
Hello.
Hello. All right. Now I'm going to hang up on you. Okay, so that was it. So it's recorded the call. It's tracked the time. If I'm going to go back and look at the history, I can see that Aaron's now on there as a call made by me. I can then move that out of the way. I could then refresh. Once I'm in here, I simply refresh. It might take a minute or 2, but it'll capture that call. It'll bring it into Pipedrive, and it'll timestamp it with the date, the time, and the recording. Now, if you have Pipedrive installed on your phone or your iPad or any device, and you're using AirCall, you basically make the call using AirCall off your phone. It records that call. At the end of the call, Pipedrive pops up and says, would you like to take any notes from that call? You can simply type in the notes, say, yep, had a great conversation with Aaron. We're going to catch up on Monday. There's also a little microphone button down there as well on your phone. So you tap that. Now it becomes a dictaphone. So now you're saying, because you're driving, you don't want to have to be sitting there typing. So you're saying, I just called Aaron, went really well. And then that recording of that not only goes into Pipedrive in your timeline, but it does voice to text as well of exactly what you just said on your phone. So it's fantastic. I can see you, Bruce. It's fantastic particularly for salespeople running around. Yes, Bruce.
Okay. Does it, if you're doing it off the computer, which number does it call from? So if you're call, let's just say it was my mobile number, what's it going to call out of Pipedrive, and what's the person going to receive on their phone?
Yep. So you can see here inside AirCall, as part of the installation of AirCall, you get a number. So I chose Sydney as the 02. So you can see here, the display number is 0285202157. Yep. So even if you're on your mobile phone, if you open up AirCall and call from AirCall, it's coming from your office number. So when people call you back, they're actually calling the office. They're calling AirCall, your virtual office. Right. So again, you can set up AirCall to say that if somebody rings our main number, the first person that gets the call is the extension 1, which is front office. If that rings through, it goes to someone else. If that rings through, it goes to Bruce. All right, but ideally we want someone else to be filtering those calls first. If it's out of hours or it rings out, it will go to a voicemail. They can leave a message. That message voicemail will go as a WAV file inside Pipedrive in the timeline of that contact as well. So everything's there. But yeah, great question, Bruce, because in here you have your main office number, and then you can see here I've also got a Cloud Connect mobile. So when I use the Cloud Connect mobile, I can now select this button here. And again, we'll just use Aaron. And I can select his mobile. And I can send a message directly to Aaron via text. And he can reply. So again, it's a company mobile phone. It's not my mobile phone. So anyone that uses this is inside AirCall, and you get the same notifications you would get if you got a text message on your phone. Because once you have AirCall installed, it's a company mobile phone number sending text, and it's a company landline for people to return the calls. And as is replied, like clockwork, I tell you. So that's AirCall, but I just felt it was a really important add-on to show, because there's so many add-ons you can have with Pipedrive, but this is the most powerful one because, again, you want to be able to see, and you can see here, if I just extend that, you can see that outbound call was made today at 1:43 to Aaron. It went for 15 seconds. So if I click that little link right there, it's going to play back, except when it has an error like that. It's going to play back the call. Okay, so you get the idea of how it's linked, so that anyone is jumping into Pipedrive. If someone else in your business has a conversation with another client, you can simply just jump straight in, listen to the conversation. You can make notes on that conversation. You're saving time by having to just listen to that rather than go back to the person and say, how did you go when you were chatting with Az? Okay, so that's one of the most powerful tools that I've seen when you're looking at a platform where you've got everything sitting here, everything about that particular person, everything about that company is in one spot. Every activity, every email, every conversation, every text message, everything is traced back to that contact. And you now can go through that nurturing process without doubling up or worrying that someone else has already had that conversation with that client, that prospect. Okay, any other questions at all? Yeah, Bruce?
Okay, so the only one that I had is if we've got two Pipedrives, like for two different companies, do you need to totally log out of one to then get into the other?
Yep, because it's based on your email address, so when you log in. But remember, with Google Chrome, you can have two Chrome profiles sitting there. I would recommend that you have two Chrome profiles, not two tabs in the single profile. Because Pipedrive, the reason Pipedrive is so quick is it caches everything. It stores everything locally, and it uses cookies galore. Cookies are where it's tracking all the information, the data you're getting off the internet is storing locally. And if you jump into your other Pipedrive account, because I know you have two,
yep,
the same browser, it's going to start throwing you out of one and Chrome is going to freak out. I've seen it. So you're always best to have two profiles, so that it's the history and the cookies and all of the caching that's going on is sitting in two different Chrome profiles. And profiles in Chrome simply reside here. Oh, that little button right there. See how I've got these different profiles? And you just simply add another profile with your new email address. Go to Pipedrive, sign in, bookmark it, and then you can basically have a split screen, even if you wanted to, with Bruce over here, Bruce number 1 over here, and Bruce number 2 over here, and you can have two completely functioning Pipedrives and all of your other emails and apps and other programs you've got stored as your favorites, completely safe and not crisscrossing and causing confusion.
Righto.
Okay.
You know that was a question for me, so that's fine. That's good.
Well, I love it. Thanks, Bruce. Anyone else have any questions? If not, then I will close it off there. I wanted to keep it nice and tight and keep it definitely under an hour anyway, 45 minutes to an hour. But yeah, if there's no more questions at all, I'm just going to pop up this last little page just so you can see. And I'll just fill that. So basically, our website, cloudconnect.com. If you want to know anything more about Pipedrive, cloudconnect.com/Pipedrive-signup, and that's the sign up page. has all the information of Pipedrive on that page as well. If you want to know anything more about Systemology or System Hub, you go to systemology.cloudconnect.com. ClickUp, we're a partner with ClickUp Aircall, so it's just clickup.cloudconnect.com and aircall.cloudconnect.com. So next month I might do a little bit more of a play with ClickUp, just so you can see. I'm going to be working my way through. So if I was to go back into this screen here, each month my goal is to cover one of these. So if there's one in particular that you really want to know more about, and even if it's one that's not on here and it's a tech tool that you really want to use, let me know, because all of these tools are effectively helping your business save time, save money, turn chaos into control, organize your business so you know what you're doing. But with all of these, there's a specific tool around how do you use it. Most of the time we say we know about 10% of what my application can do, and the rest of it is beyond my control or beyond my knowledge. My goal is to be able to teach you the basics of every one of these, so it just makes sense. So if you pick up a gold nugget along the way, perfect. If you have questions on a particular topic around any of these, then we can jump on and talk about that. So if we jump on one and we're talking about one, but another product becomes, one of these apps becomes the most prominent topic of conversation, we can switch. But as an IT systemologist and guru of 30 years of doing this crazy stuff of IT, I love talking about all this stuff, and I'm passionate about everything here, but more passionate about helping you get your business to the next level. So that's my goal. All right. So thank you, guys.
I've got one other question, Rob.
Yeah, Bruce.
And I know that this is this for the benefit of the recording. If we wanted to just do something along the lines of hook up MYOB to Pipedrive, just for the recording, how do we actually book in the an actual one-on-one or whatever to be able to do that?
With me?
Or with one of your team?
Oh, I see. We'll just come on cloudconnect.com. That's where you jump straight on the contact page.
Yep.
For you, it'll be a completely different. You can ring me. You can jump on the ticketing. You know all that process here. But in general, you just jump on the website, and then we can kick off that conversation and work out how those integrations work. Simple as
Excellent.
that.
Yep. No, I just did it for the benefit of the, just saying of how you actually can get like a bit of one-on-one to, basically get, Xero or MYOB or something like that connected up directly, and it's only just one little item to be able to do that just for a quick 1 hour session or book in or a ticket item or something like that. That's all.
Yeah. And also my email address is there as well. So either way, just connect. We can work out what you're actually trying to achieve. What's the goal? What's the outcome we're trying to get? And then we can go from there.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks again for your time. I will see you next month, if not sooner.